Welcome to my craft room, and today we are going to be sublimating a stole. So yesterday I did show that how I was printing. I have an Epson ET 15,000. I have Epson ET 15,000 that is for sublimation, and ASUB sent me a roll of 13 by 110 feet, sublimation paper. So you guys wanted to see how I printed it on my ET 15,000. Because the back isn't wide enough. The back is wide enough only for 8.5 by 11. So I did do my little trick and I printed it from the rear feeder, which turned out really good. So we're gonna get into that. So of course, usually, this is my first time printing on a roll. Usually I'm printing in Cricut Design Space, and I'm breaking up my images. So because we are doing on a roll, you want to make sure that you're designing on a 13 by at least 40, because you want to give yourself a little bit of room to have space at the top and the bottom. And of course the sheet is 13, so you're going to do 13 by 40. And then I save it in, I download it to my device, and then I upload it back into Canva so that I can flip it, because you have to mirror your images whenever you're sublimating. And child, I don't know how to flip on this, so now I have to save it again. Also, it's page, I think it's page, yeah, 2 and 3. Again, this is 13 by 40, but my panels are 5 inches wide, or 5.2, because I like to give myself like a little bit of room. And when I'm designing, I try not to, because I know up here is usually about 4 inches skinny. Down here is maybe like 4.25 or something like that. Down here is maybe like 4.5, and then you go all the way down to 5. So it definitely goes up. So you want to make sure that this is, not wide, or else all of your stuff will be cut off when you get to pressing it. And I have this line right here because this is where I need to stop, so that anything above here is going to be going behind the neck. So that's why that line is right there. And same thing, I don't know why I thought this was touchscreen. Same thing with this. This is here because usually my what is this? If I'm doing anything like this, the date and stuff is usually wide, so that's right there. This is down here because this is the point of where the stole will be. So now we can go. I know everybody prints from different things. I print from my computer. This is the 15,000, and the 15,000 does not, I will print one at a time. Oh no, we can print both. No, I'll print one at a time. What was I gonna say? Oh, because Epson always zooms in 2%, so I just make sure to scale it back. But for the 15,000, it doesn't print borderless 13 by 19, so you just get what you get. You don't have a fit, all that. And then I'm gonna go down to print. And I'm going to choose the printer that I'm using, and I'm going to make sure that I go all the way down to manage, customize, or I already have right here, untitled, because that's what I used before. So we're just gonna do that. And boom, now there's nothing left for me to do except to print. So let's prepare our paper. So for this part, of course, we have our ASUB roll. And then I'm using measuring tape. I'm going to be using this blade and my ruler, because we are going to need to measure this out to 40 inches. So usually what I do is I take my tape. Well, let's lay this down first. We're going to make sure ain't nothing on here. Make sure our desk is clean, clear. this is probably, let me see. So we want to take my measuring tape, and I'm going to measure up to 40 inches, which is here. So this needs to go out a little further. No matter how much desk space I think I have, I still need more. So now 40 inches is over here. I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm going to put it on there. Now I'm just gonna hope and pray that it's as straight as it needs to be, because we all know how that goes with me. There we go. I'm going to do 2 of these, so I might as well just do 2 right now. Boom. So we have our 2 sheets. Now this is curved, right? So this is not going to feed into the printer like we needed to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a 13 by 19 photo paper, and I'm going to grab some double-sided adhesive tape. It doesn't need to be really big. I do this skinny, and I'm going to put some tape on the back, or you can put it on here. This is the same one I used yesterday, so I'm just gonna put it on here where it was. And then trim it. Now the thing is, whenever you're placing your adhesive on the sheet, on this one, you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of space at the top, so that has that straight part right there, because you don't want it to curve, like, you know, and sometimes if it's too close, you're gonna have that problem. So you just leave it, you put it a little bit down. And then we're going to peel that backing off. And then we are going to place, we're going to place this as close the edge as on where the double-sided adhesive is. Like that. And so this part is now straight. Do you see? Can you see how it's not super close and you still have that straight? Like, this is where the paper is and this is where the bottom is. So now we can take it to our printer. And this is why I'm saying I'm only using, I'm only printing one at a time, because, child, I only want to use one sheet. I'm going to use it for my zip photo paper. So I'm only going to do one at a time. So this is where all the sublimation magic happens. And now I'm going to put this back here like this. Oops. And then we're going to put this in. So now I most likely won't have to change it on here, but I just do just in case. And we're going to use user defined, and it's already defined, and it's on presentation matte. So user defined, presentation matte, and then we're going to close it. And then now we're gonna press print. Don't forget to pull this up. Okay, so I had some technical difficulties, but we are back in business, and now it is printing. I keep the back on the back so that it just like flows through. Let me fix that really quick. I don't want it to have like a hard time going through, so I let the back down so that nothing is holding it against the wall. If you don't have yours against the wall on the shelf like this, then you should be totally fine. But child, not only am I short, it's against the wall. So, but here we go. Print's coming out. I did make this yesterday, so don't get confused, because yes, I am wearing different clothes. However, when I put it on, I did notice that I forgot to bring down the words a little bit on one side, so I had to make that adjustment. And so this one should be good. That's why now I have those measurements on my template, just so I know that everything is, you know, where it's supposed to be. Okay, now that part's done, we're going to take our parchment paper. I use parchment paper, but you can use butcher paper, and I get mine from Costco, and we're going to measure out a little bit over the stole, which is like 40 inches, so a little bit over 40 inches, and then we are going to fold it in half. And this should cover half of the stole image, because we're going to stuff it in there like a burrito. And do not forget to remove that paper, that straight paper from the back, the glossy photo paper, I should say. And then I'm going to cut down the middle, because I'm pressing one half at a time. I'm going to stick my half in that little fold over on the parchment paper, just like that. And then we're going to get our stole. And I have to always remember like which part goes where. So this is me trying to remember. Remembering. And then you, of course, you do on the outside, and you lay that flat, making sure that the tip of the stole is inside the image, and also positioning the stole to where the words are centered in your stole. So now I have my heat tape, and I'm just gonna put it down like that. I always put one on the tip, and I put on the edge, and then I put one across like so. Child, sometimes these nails are helpful and sometimes they're not, and so, you know, that's why I have two on one end. And then I just go randomly and stick some tape. Like, there's no rhyme, reason, or rule on how I do mine. I just do it like this, and it tends to work for me. My heat press is already heated. It's on 400 degrees for 6, and we're gonna press it for 60 seconds. And I'm doing one side. I'm pressing one side at a time. And so in order to do that, and for the image to not go on the top of the stole, we are going to trim this like this, fold this over, because we are going to put that other half of the stole on top of our parchment paper like this. And you have to put on the parchment paper so that it doesn't bleed on top of the other one. Like, you're securing that side. And I'm just gonna cut this little part off because it's pretty much unnecessary. Then I'm going to get another piece of parchment paper and I'm going to measure it just like I did before, about a little bit over 40 inches. And we are going to fold that in half again. And this is to cover that whole stole image. That way we don't have any accidents, because we do not want anything to go on the top of that stole, because we're going to need to press that afterwards. And we're going to cover it like this. And I like to tape the edges so that we know it's not going to come out. And I just put maybe like 3 pieces of tape and just like so. And boom. So now we're heading over here to the heat press. This is a 16 by 24 heat press. And I do have Teflon sheet on there. And we're just going to press it. You have to make sure, because this is going to be in 2 parts. So you have to make sure that your firmness is very firm in order for you to have no mistakes. I've tried doing medium to high pressure, but child, this needed high pressure. I had to stand on my tippy toes to press this mess down. But it was definitely worth it, and it came out very smooth, very even though I had to piece my presses. I had no ghosting or anything like that. So I am so happy. I now use what is this, 13 by 40 inches, the roll sheets, because child, let me tell you, it has been a lifesaver. Before, I was piecing together, cutting from my Cricut, and oh my gosh, worrying about ghosting or that ghost line, is just stress. But let's take a look at this. And that sublimation paper, that A-sub sublimation paper is going to get you right every time. And now we're just going to unwrap it. And you see how the other side is flawless because nothing happened to it. It was wrapped really good, really tight, and all we have to do is lift that up. So now when I get to prepping the other half of the stole that needs to be pressed, I'm going to use that top paper. I'm going to discard the bottom paper with all the sublimation prints on there, and then I'm going to use that top paper to put the other half of my stole on. And it came out really cute. Like I said, you always want to make sure that you have high pressure, because you don't want any mistakes. And the guide that I did was really good because you're able to see her head. It's not going to the back of my neck. So that was a win-win, and I'm definitely going to be using that every time. So this is me discarding that parchment paper that I used before. And it has all the sublimation marks on there. And then we are going to use that second half of the sheet and put that other half of the sublimation image on there and fold it over just like we did that first time, making sure that we fold over the other half of the stole and secure it with that parchment paper. So we're going to do it exactly how we did the first time. Only this time that other half of the stole is already pressed, but we still need to secure the image and cover it with that parchment paper, just in case there are any dies on that Teflon sheet that's on the top there. Listen, I'm gonna need some new Teflon sheet because I don't know what be happening with that, but it still works for regular shirts, so I'll make sure to get some more. So I didn't think you guys needed to see the whole process again. We're just going to do the same thing that we did before, making sure you have high pressure when pressing. And this is the results. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, Happy crafting!